Yeah. In any case, we're here for the game, so I might as well start busting that out, and let's flip on over to the Blue Bombers. In my opinion, the best overall title in all of Mega Man's history. There really is nothing like Mega Man 2. My favorite music comes from Mega Man 3, but as an overall package, Mega Man 2 is really what still has it. So yeah, ideally, I get this game wrapped up in about 45 minutes. Then I'm going to head right into New Super Mario Land. And if you've not heard of New Super Mario Land, it is an absolute treat. It came out of nowhere. Really brilliant piece of, made from scratch homebrew. Some anonymous coder, some anonymous programmer out there, remade Game Boy Super Mario Land. But they did so using the graphics of New Super Mario Bros. And in the process of using those graphics, crushed them down Donkey Kong Country style into a Super Nintendo game. So if you are in possession of certain devices, you can actually play that game on real hardware. The maker made absolutely sure to optimize in such a fashion. Even includes like a ton of voice samples and other things that you wouldn't have thought possible, but I guess Donkey Kong Country in and of itself was kind of the proof of concept that yes, you can have these beautiful graphics on a Super Nintendo just as long as they're pre-rendered. As far as everyone knows, this game was made only by one person, so it's a miracle that it even exists. So we get to all check that out together. Thanks to everyone who is stopping by here. Just casually playing Mega Man 2. I am no speedrunner of this game, but I solemnly swear to play it as efficiently as I reasonably can here, using my preferred boss order, which is Metal Man first. And ideally, I do this without dying and without continuing, but I guess I'm just going to resolve here to complete the game. I mentally kind of run out of steam right after the big Gutsman fight. That's where things get, I don't know, a little bit weird for me, because those Wily stages start getting a little bit tedious, I think. But no matter, I just, even in the games you love, there are parts that we don't like. Metal Blade 2-op, yeah, that's why we go for it first. Little Mega Man jumping, it's like you said. Yeah, Mega Man is so happy to jump, it's great. And I am a terrible aim when it comes to Metal Man's jumping. And when you get too close, he jumps to the other side. Really, really dumb boss behavior. Super Fighting Robot, never could have imagined the concept. Totally never happened before. Astro Boy. Anyway, yeah, Super Fighting Robots indeed. Getting equipped with the Metal Blade so that I can literally and figuratively shred the rest of this game. Excuse me. Now, if my face appears a little bit blurry, that's definitely the fault of the encoder here due to all of the motion that has to be compensated for by this crazy background of this game. Just seeing this crazy super waterfall background back in the day was so mind-blowing, so revolutionary. And the goal to me is always to try to get as few of those platforms to make sure as many of them stay up as possible. If you can get at least 3, I think you're really good there, because if you jump, because I think it's obviously not the first frame after landing on those platforms, but like the second or third frame, the window of time until the platform starts dropping is really slim. Obviously, you gotta add some sort of challenge here. So, Paducah Gaming, I know for a fact, was here at the end of the Tuesday stream. I will reliably stream on Tuesdays, but just various conditions in my life change whether I stream on Friday night or Saturday, and Saturday seems to be the preferred one lately. and I'm playing it safe in this section here, if only because I died there, and I impose a restriction on myself after playing a ton of Symphony of the Night. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go throw on just a little bit of Mega Man 2 here, and I'm just gonna play until I die. Traditionally, I can get pretty far in this game without dying, but I just happened to die right here in the second level, my second overall attempt here, so I really owned myself in the face. And those spikes, for those who do not remember or have never actually played Mega Man 2, those spikes are a one-hit kill, so I'm not at all a fan of testing them, to say the least. And also because I've gotten a little bit older and my senses have dulled a little bit. Wow, this game is still a little bit on the loud side, and I threw the volume slider downward. Jeez. Knocked that down a little bit. And also, I think there was a fan uproar for Mega Man 11 in which they some pre-release footage came out, and it turned out that Mega Man did not float through those boss gates, because floating through those boss gates it's really one of the most entertaining parts of the game. I think it's just one of those little things that's how these games got under our skin back in the day, because we didn't have fancy graphics or super amazing CD orchestrated music. We had, just all these little things that our imagination filled in the gaps, and just imagining Mega Man floating during that screen transition is pretty neat. So here comes another level of some possibly interesting difficulty is Heatman. Now the Heatman level might be one of those levels where you want to study it if you intend on becoming a game designer, or you just appreciate the finer details in how a game is put together. The Heatman stage really is, I think, a masterclass in that, more than any other stage here in Mega Man 2, because the way that it comes right out of the gate, forcing some precision jumping on you and making sure that you're not only that you're measuring your hops while also dodging these enemies. And these platforms here being at multiple elevations and forcing you to compensate your jumping arc for that becomes really important a little bit later when they start introducing you to the more dangerous version of these disappearing blocks that are the bane of every Mega Man player's existence. And yeah, you are definitely right, Famajack. The power of imagination, the way that our little brains would fill in the gaps of all of these games, because yeah, the graphics are simple, but we had stuff like what was in the box art to kind of tease out what things could possibly look like. Yes, we know Mega Man games, the early Mega Man games are infamous for their terrible box art. I think Mega Man 3 was when the US finally started getting some halfway decent box art for Mega Man games. Because especially like the box art for Mega Man 2 made him look like an actual man, which is just kind of embarrassing. And we all know how bad the first Mega Man box art was. It was so bad that Capcom even used it as a self-referential joke at one point. Now here's the disappearing block puzzle that tied into some of the insanity that we witnessed earlier. And being able to develop a rhythm is key for being able to handle these. And I'm going to shut up a bit so I can focus. Yeah, the box art for one. And yes, I have a turbo button set for my controller. My weapon of choice, as always, is the Switch Pro controller. This is one of two Switch Pro controllers I'm using. This one in particular is dedicated to all gameplay that I do here on my PC, and the other one is my first one, which is paired with my Switch. My Switch will be fired up later. Hey, thanks, bot. I'll become famous on my own terms, thank you. It's never predictable, like, the amount of time while Heatman charges up and then rushes at you. Honestly, the Xbone controller, I hotly debated the controller that I wanted to use on PC. I really thought hard about what I wanted for my PC controller, and I wanted to try to be pragmatic about it, because yeah, the Xbone controller for PC, that one theoretically is a no-brainer. And I love the D-pad. I know that might sound super weird, but the going clicky and with switches on the D-pad for the Xbone controller was maybe the best move that Microsoft could have made for a D-pad on a controller. It might be the best D-pad out of all the consoles at the moment. But I also thought, okay, since I have a Switch and a Switch Pro controller can work feature equivalent to an Xbone controller on my PC, I might as well just basically have let this one do double duty. There can be times where if I've got my Switch, then I can then two people can enjoy Pro controllers. Thad Reanimated, hey, it's been a while. How you doing? Glad to see you. Welcome to the stream. It's all good here. Just doing my thing, trying to shred Mega Man 2, trying to not let to not let this game get too far under my skin, trying not to let this game get into my head. Because when I first pitched this stream, I called it my revenge against this game, and I really don't need to treat it like that. I don't need to be hostile. $100 to get me 3,000 followers? Yeah, 3,000 bots, which is not great. Yeah, me suddenly going from 100 to 3,000 followers. Yeah. But for all I know, it's not against the... For all I know, it might not be against the terms of service to do that with followers. So, we'll see. Just trying to have a relaxing Saturday here. Thad Reanimated. Got my games, got some good people hanging out in chat. Got Famijack, got Padoka Gaming, got the lovely Hideous Winter. And I'm feeling really jazzed about what's to come later. This Mega Man thing, this one is purely like, this one's mainly for me and my ego. This is nothing more than an ego stroke here to try to come in here and shred Mega Man 2. While I do run a lot of retro games, I of course want to keep a lot of variety, because there are thousands upon thousands of retro games for consoles where, their primary video output... Oh, there was an extra life that disappeared! There's a lot of variety out there, but I don't want to pigeonhole myself. Yeah, this is strictly EP fodder here. Especially the further I can go in this game without dying, the bigger my EP can be. That's exactly right, Famijack. And I don't have the fancy moves of all the speedrunners of this game, but I like to think that I still play with reasonably good dexterity. The chickens here in this stretch are very interesting because they may seem like hostiles, but they're not. They will actually intentionally avoid Mega Man just like that. Sometimes you can just stop and they will hop over. They seem to have a tile-based jump behavior, so maybe I was not treating that correctly. But it's time to turn up the heat on Woodman. Now beat Ninja Gaiden Black, earn some real EP. Oh man, if my Xbone were functioning, then I totally would. But I bricked it because I thought I was a super genius. Thought I would manually update the firmware over I thought I would manually update the dashboard over FTP, and I ended up bricking it, and I do not have a PC that'll help me do the hard drive swap trick so I can redo the soft mod. And I'm not sure the availability of hard mods anymore, because a hard mod basically can remove the restriction, the hard drive restriction. Xboxes use a really interesting mechanism of hard drive locking that chains a hard drive to the console, but of course some very smart people found a way around that, which is why the Xbox 360 got locked down so hard. And now the Xbone, there's really no homebrew for the Xbone. You might as well just pay Microsoft a few bucks and get in on their developer program, which then lets you enable developer features for your Xbox so that you can run whatever you want on it. So that's really it's one of those things where Microsoft finally cornered the market and gave people a kind of a pragmatic way to go about things. Okay, you want to run anything you want on your Xbox? Fine, here's how you can do it. Just let us know. Not to say that homebrew doesn't exist on the 360, it just took a long time for them to figure that out. And as of right now, I have an Xbox that I keep fully updated for just regular stuff. I use it as my Plex player in the living room. And then I acquired another 360 from a friend that happens to be on an old dashboard. Like this thing probably hasn't touched the internet since 2013. It's great. Thad Reanimated, happy that retro games have a huge community. Oh, totally. If nothing else, I might give a little bit of credit to Games Done Quick, currently in progress right this moment. Being able to speedrun old games has definitely given their visibility back. And plus there are a lot of very smart people out there who are doing awesome things with retrofitting old hardware. Totally making those consoles viable to play, and even behaving better than when they were new. I'm absolutely all about that life. Hooray! An extra life that I hopefully will not need. No, I need to be more confident about that. I will absolutely not need that extra life. I spit in the face of that extra life. How about that? Go be an adult, Hideous Winter. Thank you for stopping by. Any hanging out is appreciated. Love seeing you pop your face into these streams here. So now, since I'm going against Airman, in true Pokemon or even rock, paper, scissors fashion, because he is named Rockman after all, time to bust out some wood. Or leaves. And I'm getting some terrible patterns here. There we go. Yeah, retro games have a huge community, and I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Actually, I am going to crack, here, please sponsor me a good old can of Fruit Punch Science. This stuff hits very nicely. Doesn't have a huge amount of caffeine content, which I can appreciate because I would like to try to taper that down someday. But mainly because this stuff comes off pretty sour, and I like having that tang every now and then. Fabbajack, you have a great Saturday evening. Hope you and your puppy and your wife have a lovely rest of your weekend. Take care. For anyone who's curious, definitely follow Fabbajack. He is a player of retro PC games, whereas I am mainly a console freak. Fabbajack has some great knowledge of the old stuff. I really need to figure out how to get a bot going, so that I can do some proper shout outs for certain people. But okay, with the defeat of Airman comes Crashman, because air power means whatever crashing is. That's the logical way to go about things as Mega Mans go. I think after a certain point, especially in the transition between 2 and 3, they're like, we don't need this boss order to make sense. We'll just do what we want. Well, that's the interesting is that retro will always evolve. What's fresh and hot right now is eventually going to look antiquated after a certain point. I like to think of all the things that Sega did in the 90s with like Virtua Fighter and some of those other games that, for as cutting edge as they were at the time, they're something that'll easily run on like your cell phone. So all of the leaps and bounds that happen in technology, always admirable. But even something as beautiful as like Horizon Zero Dawn or Breath of the Wild is gonna look completely non-technical in just a couple more years. Like especially with what I like to think of, 1995, we all watched Toy Story, and Toy Story was an incredible visual feast at the time. And now, it took a while, but with Kingdom Hearts 3, once you get to the Toy Story area, looks exactly like the movie. Really does. When some of that footage came out of Kingdom Hearts 3, I was absolutely losing my mind, because this is finally, because a lot of us still like to use movies as benchmarks, and now we can easily do an A to B comparison. This is what Toy Story looks like. and then seeing the game doing all that in real time instead of that movie having taken several years to render. Genuinely impressive stuff. Might as well keep that health topped up. And more item 1 abuse. We love item 1. Okay, it is time to blow Crashman away. Almost literally. Oh, come on. That was the worst Crashman fight I've had in a long time. I should have been able to kill him, like, right when he landed after that first jump. And we also got to think, video gaming as we know it has been around for really... Wow, we're actually getting to be at about the 40-year mark. I suggest you watch a guy on YouTube named Prince EA because he talks about our generation and the next. There's a lot of retro gamers I come across on YouTube. I don't think I've come across Prince EA, but I'll certainly look for him in all of my video game adventures. I like Metal Jesus Rocks. I like Modern Vintage Gamer. Gaming Historian is I think a must watch. And then for other niche content, there's people like Zeltic who seem to find new ways to talk about Zelda every week. But Prince EA, I'll have to see about giving Prince a look. But these days, a lot more of my YouTube adventures for video gaming are they end up surrounding video game music and a bunch of really incredibly talented musicians who do covers of game music. Doesn't talk about games. Oh, he talks about what we're doing to the world. Oh, okay. Wasn't thinking about things in that sort of sense. But yeah, what's happening to the world is certainly a worthwhile topic. Not something that I'm willing to impress upon here on stream, because a place like this is, a place like this, I want to reasonably create the feeling that what we're doing here is an escape. And yes, I understand that video games can be just as good and rich as novels for the way that they help to shape the way that we view the world. And I'll never discount the impact that video games can have on the development of a person. But if this person goes about things in a general sense about the condition of the world and how things are transitioning, when I find some time in when I've finished watching all of my video gaming videos, then perhaps I can move on to Prince EA. So appreciate that suggestion very much, Thad Reanimated. Thank you for that. Okay, should have pulled out the metal blades before this, but that's fine. That's the beauty of metal blades, is that they are effective against 3 of the 8 bosses here, so... Get a little sampling here, just to quench my curiosity. Wow, 5 million subscribers, okay. So it looks like he is here to dispense a lot of advice and philosophy, using some visual demonstrations. Seems like a really clever idea for a channel, something that can help to guide people who are lost. That's something really nice to have around sometimes. Okay, this level might cause a lot of inappropriate language, so I apologize in advance. I really, really do, because there are definitely portions of this level, and if you played this game, you understand, that can inspire anger. Oh boy. Misjudged that one. But at least I survived it. Yes, another extra life. An extra life that I do not need, because I'm so good at this game. Now here's where the real fun starts. That was close. The goal is, and this I think is it's almost like a trap to kind of try to force you to use the flash stopper before the boss. But no, Quickman, you know, kind of living up to his namesake. If you are quick, then you don't have to worry. If you are quick and you are prepared, that's the thing. You have to drop into each of those rooms in exactly the right place, or you have set yourself up for failure and you'll need the flash stopper to cover for your mistake. Oh man, I guess technically Quickman is super, super weak, like mega lame. Like, look at him. He's being damaged by having to stay still. Like, embarrassing. Just straight up, who does he even think he is? There we go. Get me quick with the quick boomerang. Didn't need that, but that's fine. Back to stage select, and I guess there's no actual selection anymore. It's time for the Wily Castle Insanity. What's really impressive is how he manages to rebuild such incredibly large facilities between games. There's so many gamers over the years, Mega Man, you know, being Nintendo's Lost Mario. I think that was kind of part of the appeal of the old Mega Man games, is that moving around as Mega Man roughly felt like Mario himself, but you were doing very different things with all of these movements, especially with the with all the weapons. And you know, over the years, it comes around every now and then where some gamers are like, you know, Nintendo should just buy Capcom, especially with the kind of relationship that the two companies have had over the years. Like, let's just make the marriage official. Let's not mess around here. Especially because when I think of, I forget if it was it Smash for Wii U, or maybe it was for one of the early trailers for Smash Melee, but the Mega Man trailer for Smash was a complete piece of art. Just absolutely did everything good you could ever ask for to the character. And it was always heartbreaking over the years seeing Mega Man being pushed into these really low-quality games sometimes, or the franchise taking a concept and then milking it way too far. Like the Mega Man X series, absolutely wonderful. Started out brilliant, but after X3, things started to get a little weird. While I do not have Disney Plus, I have the means of watching whatever I need to watch, so I will say I've made my way through The Mandalorian. Absolutely loved it. Anything else on Disney Plus that's adjacent, worth thinking about, worth watching here? What's in your mind with Disney Plus, Thad Reanimated? Oh, time to get pink. Oh boy. I'll take the hit, that's fine. I'll survive. Ba-ba. Now, one thing about Disney Plus that seems interesting is how a lot of the Pixar shorts came up. And like, I have all of the Pixar movies here on my own home server, so I'm not worried about missing out on those aspects of things. But I'm sure there's a lot of other Pixar material that is otherwise kind of hard to come by. So Disney Plus would be a great resource for that. But Pixar in LRL, what does that mean? LRL? Oh boy. Repeat of the drills. Oh, IRL. Okay. I guess that was a capital I because I didn't see the dot. So they have a series on Disney Plus called Pixar in Real Life. Ooh, just barely missed my item 3 there. All about the hitboxes. Now this boss is relatively easy, but he hits hard if you ever make a mistake. So I think that's the compromise there, that yes, this boss is relatively easy to defeat, but if you make a mistake, you will be punished. I think this boss nails you for like 20% of your energy every time you get hit. Oh, yeah, just like that. Brutal. Last one. Yeah, it's where things from Pixar movies are so real in public. The first episode is Inside Out Control Panel. Oh, neat. I'll have to find... Yeah, I'll have to find that show. Pardon me. Okay, when the music changes, that's where things start to get weird, to say the least. This is where the games start to get a little bit taxing, but it's only on Disney Plus. Oh yeah, definitely. When you're going that hard on the Disney catalog, and when you have an entire product and service like Disney Plus, you're gonna want to have a few exclusives to try to reel people in. No doubt about that. Okay, how does this go? Just gotta drop straight down. We get to play with water physics here again. water physics, and death spikes. And giant fish that pop out of the deep. Yeah, there we go. There he is. Those fish always look so jarring because the way that they're drawn looks completely unlike anything else in the game. It's kind of awkward. Falling, falling, falling. I could just mash the start button a bit to reset Mega Man's momentum, but meh. You know, famous last words. I'm kind of on a roll right now, so I'm just gonna keep playing the hot hand here and just keep kicking ass. Okay, this is the one time I'm gonna do a safety save here because... Oh. I thought it was a different boss. My bad. Yeah, this Guts Man boss is, Yep, yet again, quick boomerangs do the trick. How do I want to start this one? Now this section is interesting because of the fake floors that will start to eventually terrify you here. It starts out simply just with this chunk here missing, and I think, yeah, with that missing as well to really start screwing with you. And then there's a really terrifying room after this to sweeten the deal, so I'm gonna go jump over that. Oh, that's not nice. How about I just, that'll do. And then, yeah, after taunting you a little bit like that with a bunch of fake floors, they decide to show you a bunch of spikes. So, since we are not going to take any chances here, I'm just going to use a little bit of item 2. No, those are intentional in that room. Those are absolutely intentional as an obstacle, because especially if I come down here, they further they make it a further challenge here for you to try to navigate your way to that E-tank there. There were definitely a lot of shortcuts taken in video games back in the day, but hazards like this that are absolutely obnoxious are fully intentional. At no point has Capcom ever denied that was, as Capcom has never gone on the record to indicate in any other way that was like an accident. That is an intentional hazard there to keep gamers all sorts of confused. Alright, a little bit more item 1 here to expedite the process. Just a touch. Always have to be careful here because as we've continued to learn, pressing start and coming back resets Mega Man in a certain way, which also means he loses his grip on ladders, which is a completely scary thing to happen. Oh, I missed out on that. respawn here. And more. That should do it. A little bit of the old damage boost. And I might just use a little item 2 here as another shortcut. Just gotta go here, in here, and finish. Yep, and then these guys again, which very... Well, I'll say this, the metal blades aren't effective against them, so really that's the worst part about them. Blessing, large energy refill right before the boss fight. I have a turbo controller, I'm really not scared of these guys. Okay, doing a safety save here because this fight here, this is one of the top 5 dumbest bosses ever. Really just garbage. Actually, I should take the easy route first. Hopefully it'll take... Okay, good. Okay, little item 3 to get out of here. And this is the tricky part, is precision placement of item 1 so that I can get up there, get up top, because the hardest part about this boss is conservation of crash bombs. And as you can see, I've only got 2 left, so I have to make sure that I solve... This boss is more of a puzzle than a boss, obviously, by making sure that I've pre-calculated the amount of crash bombs that I can shoot, and then breaking down the fewest amount of walls possible to solve, you know, hitting the boss. Now for the boss refights. Let's start with the Metal Blade, because that covers at least 3. Alright, we are starting off with needing to get bubbly. You. A little bit of Airman. Since we've, you know, learned things. Boom, boom. I don't know if it's just the nature of these battle arenas just being so generic, but I feel like the refights are way easier than their initial encounters. I really dislike taking a hit there off a Woodman, but wiggling through the falling leaves always gets me. Bubbleman really likes to land on the teleporter to make things convenient. Dumbest thing though, Quickman immune to Metal Blades, which is just rude. And an all-flat surface means Quickman is much easier to deal with. Okay, now let's kill him a little bit faster, shall we? And that's the best part about Metal Man, his own weapon, one-hit kill. So beautiful. And then, hey, Metal Blades again. I don't even have to... Like, why? Why even move? Okay, and this boss? Oh yeah, more Metal Blades. Oh no, Dr. Wily escaped again. And then the mood changes. No music. Just ominous. Now this is a little trick I learned a while back by pause buffering to get Mega Man all the way to the right upon landing in the in this final area, and being very attentive to jumping, that you can avoid all of these lava drip hazards. These lava drip hazards are set to drip in a certain pattern that is completely bypassed when you go past Mega Man's intended position to scroll the screen. And now, of course, they saved the best for last. They really did. That what had been the most useless weapon throughout the entire game now becomes your savior in the final battle. And there it is, exactly what I wanted to do at the end of my Tuesday stream. Maybe I had burned out a lot of my stamina by playing through Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but there it is. No deaths, completion of Mega Man 2.